All right, guys, I am Jeremy Mack, one of your very favorite people with Parkinson's, here with one of my very favorite people with Parkinson's who I just met recently, the lovely Esther. Say hello, Esther.
Hello, Esther.
I was telling my wife and some friends last night that if Parkinson's had a weather lady, you would be the weather lady for Parkinson's.
I'll take that
Can
as
you
a
give
compliment. So the
Can you give
cold
us a little?
weather system is moving in quickly from the north.
Nice, you got it down. Perfect. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your channel. And within, I've got some questions for you. This is kind of in the line of, we did one before, not just Parkinson's. I feel like we've got a lot to say as human beings. I feel like sometimes the Parkinson's gets lost. Like, I guess we get lost in our Parkinson's. So just tell me a little bit about your Parkinson's channel, and then we'll get into some fun questions.
Yay, and I am really excited for this. Thank you so much for having me on, Jeremy. I love your stuff
No
on
problem.
YouTube as well. So I am known as Shaking in My Boots One on YouTube and Instagram. I got started as a TikToker. So I am just actually I think I'm just Esther on TikTok. Like if you just look up Esther and Parkinson's, like you'll find me. Um, but I was diagnosed in February of last year, so I'm coming up on my diagnosis anniversary, which is President's Day. Uh, I was 48 when I got diagnosed, but I had a preliminary diagnosis at like 46. And like all of us, like you have symptoms way before. So I feel like our diagnosis date isn't really that important. Professionally, I was a hospital administrator, so my background is healthcare. But now I'm doing full time, well, part time, full time, as much as I can handle, volunteer work for Parkinson's Foundation and Parkinson's advocacy in general. I have two kids. My baby's gonna turn 11 on Friday, and I'm super sad about it. My daughter is 12, and I live in El Paso, Texas, and here I am.
I love that you're very concise. Like I said, you could be like a newscaster. You're perfect.
I even got
All right,
my
so what we're gonna do?
broadcaster with my phone.
Oh, look at that, nice. All right, so I'm going to start off with the Parkinson's question. We're going to kind of mix the PD questions in with the fun ones.
Okay.
Uh, so your first question is, how has your perspective on life changed since your diagnosis, or has it? Might not have changed.
No, yeah, I mean it definitely changes. I think the main thing that I have is like this is more of a sense of urgency in everything that I do because um like I don't want to waste any time. I feel like it shouldn't take something like this diagnosis to make us think like that, but I just feel like I want to do everything now, you know? And so things that I would have put off before, I'm just like, let's just do it. Like I'm a yes person in a no world now. Like I just say yes to everything because I just want to do as much as I can while I can do it and get as much fun and love and quality of life for as long as I can. So that's probably my big perspective. Like I just like doing all kinds of things like this, for example, that I never would have done before. And so that's my main thing is like don't put off for tomorrow what you can do today kind of mentality.
Good answer. There's no wrong answer, by the way.
No buzzer.
No, no buzzer. All right, here's a fun one. What is your favorite TV show from the past and your favorite TV show from the present? Something that's currently on and something that hasn't been on in a while.
Okay, I guess it depends how far we're gonna go back because like if I
Go back
say
as far as you want.
um I think from like growing up and stuff, um, I really liked Cheers. Like I I could watch that show like over and over again, and I have been. It's just the thing about the whole dynamic of that cast, like I love. So probably Cheers, but from more recent, I was a huge Breaking Bad fan, and I miss Breaking Bad a lot.
Heisenberg,
Yes.
that was a great show. I'm a big fan of that show.
Yes. I love that show.
Okay. Well, here's a little fact. I discovered the show at Blockbuster back when Blockbuster was open. There was like a whole section of TV, and I remember oh, what's the guy's name? I can't think of his name. Bryan Cranston from Malcolm in the Middle.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I was like, well, this looks like a serious role, and I got it. And I was like kind of skeptical, but I was immediately invested in it.
Yeah, we actually owned a home in Albuquerque during the time that show was filmed. We weren't living there, but we would go back and forth. And so I would go and like there's a hot dog place that's kind of in a few scenes in it, and I would like go eat at that hot dog place just to like I was so obsessed with that show.
Okay, what is your greatest fear with Parkinson's?
That is really easy. My greatest fear has to do with dementia. I think as much as like all of this sucks, like the whole concept of losing your memory is and not being able to recognize people and stuff like that scares me the most. The kind of ironic thing about that is though, my mother is 91 and she is actually in the process of losing her memory. Like I just saw her a couple weeks ago and she was like, "Are you my daughter?" And I was like, "Yeah, mom, I'm your daughter." And she was like, "I'm so happy to see you." Like it wasn't how I thought it would be. Like it sucks, but she's super happy. And I mean, I guess that's all that really counts. I guess it's kind of selfish in a way to be like, I want to like hold on to those memories. But yeah, that's my biggest fear for sure.
I think a lot of people on here can relate to that. I certainly can because my memory is so important to me. It's all the treasures that of friends that aren't here anymore and time's gone by. And yeah, I totally get behind that. I think you're going to find a lot of people that would list that as their top fear too. Okay, now we're going to do a fun one.
Okay.
Favorite song in the world? You can name a couple, but what would be one of your very favorite songs in the world? Feel just think about it for a second.
Okay, Jeremy, I have been thinking about this incessantly, and asking me my favorite song is like asking me my favorite child.
Yep.
It's just like the Sophie's Choice of questions because it has to do with like era and mood and memories. Um, I saw that you asked that other lady like the question about what's your
Michelle?
favorite song that's tied, yeah, that's tied to a memory. And I have so many songs that I listen to just to take me back to like a very specific point in time, you know? So yesterday I was thinking about that song, How Soon Is Now by the Smiths,
Yep.
and the
Good one.
intro to that, and just how like it's just immediately like I'm young and I'm in a club and I'm like, that's my song, you know? So I think if there was one that it's just always on my playlist, it would be that How Soon Is Now by the Smiths.
Nice. Yeah, they got some good stuff.
But I mean, I
Okay.
love concerts and every kind of music, like rock and roll, all that stuff. Like, and I don't know about you, but like I get stuck on songs and then I'm just like listening to the same song like over and over and over. I have to like shuffle it and like get into something different. So music is really important to me.
Well, like you said, it ties into memory. I mean, like you said, with memory, a song can pull you back to a time in your life, good or bad. I mean, there's some songs that remind me of bad times in my life. It's kind of like I don't want to hear them.
Yeah.
But I love the good songs. And I mean, anybody who watches my channel knows I'm a huge music fan. I've got a huge record collection. I try to feature one on every video I have. So I figured you'd probably have a very complicated answer to that one.
It's tough. It's tough. And I think people are surprised about like sometimes I post videos when I'm working out and it'll be like Tool and Megadeth. And then I'm dancing in my kitchen to Prince and Madonna. And then I'm listening to System of a Down. And then I'm singing Tina Turner and Neil Diamond. It's all over the place.
You haven't named one bad artist. I've got like every one of those artists on vinyl.
But I'll tell you this, and we should do this. Like, I feel like we should share our Spotify playlist and have
I,
like
we can do that.
Parky's Spotify playlist. I think that would be helpful. My battery's
Yeah,
dying.
we can totally do that. Your battery's dying. You're gonna plug it in,
Hold on. Yeah, hold on. All right,
folks.
I'm
This is what it's like. This is what it's like when you do home recording. And with Parkinson's, trying to log into my iPad, my fingers like, what keys now? All right, here's a complicated one too, and I honestly can't think of just one thing that I would answer with this. A moment in history you would like to witness in the past.
Yes, and that was so hard too, because again, I was like, do I want to be there when like pivotal historic moments happen? Or do I just want to go back in time and like hang out with really cool, fun people?
Either or, either or.
You know? So I think if it was like a historical event, I'd probably want to witness the moon landing, you know? Because I feel like people that are from that generation, like it was so impactful in their lives, you know? And our generation doesn't have that. Like when I think of our equivalent, it was probably like the Challenger disaster, which was like a bummer, you know? We didn't we I want to like flip the script on that and have something that's like full of hope, you know? So I think for me that'd be that would be it.
Yeah, I remember the Challenger disaster. That was our opposite of the moon landing. You know, it was so like traumatic as a child to see that happening in real life. Because remember that teacher was on board, like I can't,
Yeah,
and it was like the first teacher in space, and it was like
yeah,
wow, and then you watch it disintegrate, and you're like wow. I mean, you're like, is this real? Is this really happening?
yeah. It's crazy.
So yeah, I think the moon landing's a good one. Okay, now we talked about this before, and I don't know if you're going to change your answer, but most embarrassing Parkinson's moment. Feel free to change your answer, but the one you told me earlier was freaking hysterical.
Oh no, and I already made a video about this, so I'm gonna stick with it because it's
Okay.
I don't know if it's gonna get any more embarrassing than this for me. I hope not. But we'll see. So I've been trying to work out even and because Parkinson's, and I was in Vegas at a hotel gym, and I had bought like a new cute like workout jumpsuit, and I forgot to bring like my sports bra, and so I had like a jacket over it, but then I got hot, so I turned it off, took it off, and I was doing like yoga, so I was like on the floor and I was like bending and stuff, and I started to notice this guy was like hovering like around, and I was like, "What's your deal?" You know? And the wall next to me was
Creeper.
mirrored. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, "Hmm." So the wall next to me was mirrored, and I just glanced over, and I looked at myself in the mirror, and my boob was like, my God. And I just like, and I was like mortified. But then I just like started laughing so hard because I said, this is like the most Parkinson's thing ever. Like, your brain is going in so many, and my foot was like, that was another thing. My foot, when I exercised, was like, it was like tremoring. And so I was just like totally distracted. So I put my foot back in, and and I looked at the guy, and he like took off, like he left. It was more uncomfortable than me, I think. But yeah, that's hands down my most embarrassing moment. But stay tuned.
You know what?
Any-
I can't think of anything more embarrassing than that as a woman to not know that you've come out like that and have strangers staring at you. You think, what the hell's wrong with this guy? And then realize that it's you. Wow, that's Esther. I don't know if you're ever going to top that one.
it's possible.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Okay, we got two more. Favorite movie scene of all time. This might be difficult too because there's a lot of good movies out there.
And I am a big movie person. Like movies and music are so, so important to me. Um, I think about this one scene from Gone with the Wind a lot. I grew up watching that movie because I grew up in the South, and there's a scene in it, and it's like she's Scarlett O'Hara, who's the heroine, is like leaving Atlanta, and the city is burning behind her. So you can see like the city is burning behind her, and she's like something to the effect of like, I'm not gonna think it like I have stuff to do. She's going back home to Tara. She's gonna try and get her plantation back. And she says, like, I'm not gonna think about this today. I'm gonna think about this tomorrow. I'm gonna think about this another day. And I replay that in my head like all the time because it's like that's how I feel about Parkinson's. Like it sucks, but we still got stuff to do. And I'm not gonna think about this like right now. I'll think about this tomorrow, like deal with what I have to deal with today to get through the day and, you know, deal with other things tomorrow. Not that I'm like in denial or something, but I think it's a good philosophy. Like I liked how she kind of had a single-mindedness of purpose, you know? So probably that scene from Gone with the Wind.
That is an incredibly powerful scene. I remember watching that when I was a kid on PBS, the public television, and that was, I mean, even that the burning city, and it's so funny how that scene comes back with the double meaning now that we have Parkinson's. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that. I'll think about it later. I'm going to use that. That's a great advice, Esther. Bravo.
Thanks.
Okay, last question. What inspired you to become a Parkinson's advocate? What really lit your fire and said that this is what I need or want to do?
Okay, so there was a couple things. First of all, I don't think I really ever thought of myself as an advocate, but I definitely got heated about stuff after I got diagnosed. The first time I saw the Parkinson's Foundation has a like an infographic that has a statistic that says, and I can't even remember what it says right now. Like it's something like 2 out of 3 people with Parkinson's don't get their medications on time in the hospital. And when I read that, I got so mad because I worked all my life in hospitals and it shouldn't be like that, you know, like we should be able to, and it made me so mad. And I thought to myself immediately, like, I know why this is, and we can fix this. Like, this is a fixable problem. Um, and so I kind of started moving away more from just like my posts is basically my like online diary to like bringing awareness to these issues specifically in healthcare. But it was kind of when George Ackerman, who is the power behind Together for Sharon, reached out to me to do an interview, and he sends like a list of questions, and when one of those questions was, "Can you talk about explain your advocacy?" And I remember emailing him and being like, "I don't think you have the right girl, George. Like, I'm not an advocate. I'm just a chick on TikTok, you know?" And he's like, "No, you're an advocate because you're raising awareness." And I was like, "Well, I guess if he says so, then it must be true, you know?" And it just totally changed my outlook. And that kind of was the beginning of advocacy for me. And then everything kind of snowballed from there. But as time goes on with this disease and you see like other things that can be improved, it just like everybody's story just fuels me because sometimes I still ask myself, like, what am I even doing? Like, is this even helping? And then somebody will message me, like, I really, you know, identified with what you're saying, keep on doing it. And that is like fuel for me, you know? And so that's why I just keep doing it.
Well, you're doing a great job. I mean, it's funny what pops up on your YouTube feed because I'm not really on TikTok. I'm on Instagram and Facebook, but I'm on YouTube, and I started seeing this shaking in my boots lady start coming up in my feed, and I said, "Well, I'm always looking for the next new Parkinson's, person that I can meet." And I thought this lady is something kind of. I've not really seen anybody quite like you as a Parkinson's advocate, and I mean that as a compliment. Um, because I think so many of us want to hide initially. And I know I did. I didn't really want to get out there and tell my story, but it needs to be told. And I think somebody like you presents a completely new face to Parkinson's disease. And I think people need to see that, especially the young onset. So bravo. I'm a big fan, Esther.
Thank you. Yeah, when I made my
And thank
very
you.
first post, it was because I would look and I wouldn't see people that look like me. And I would not see people so much showing like their tremors and their symptoms. I would see like a lot of like up to here's. And I was always like, what's going on down there? Are you shaking too? I want to see. And I got up one night and I just went in my bathroom and I did like this was before I got on medication. I did like a full body um, video of just what was happening with my tremor because also people don't, I think, understand like even though you can't see my leg or my toes, like stuff's going on there too, you know, like sometimes what's going on my shoe is crazy. And that was kind of like my coming out, like just that's why I love your stuff, you know? Like when I see somebody that's dyskinetic now that I have dyskinesia, like I that touches me and it makes me feel like it's not just me, you know? And I know it's hard for everybody to show it, but I just want to encourage everybody, like you said, like not to hide because I spent a long time like sticking my hand in my pocket or like I used to wear scarves and like hide my arm under the scarf and now I'm just like it is what it is. Deal with it, society. There's a lot of us out here, and unfortunately, more every day.
Good attitude to have. I had this trick when I worked, I had this giant freezer suit and like these overalls. And when I was having dyskinesia in my legs, I would hide it by like with all this like insulation. So I don't know if it worked, but it made me feel like people weren't seeing my legs wiggle all over the place. But one of the things with Parkinson's, even when you look like you're still, your body is twitching in all kinds of ways, and that's what people don't understand. You can look completely comfortable, but your toes might be clenched, your fingers, your wrist might be twisting, your back might be spasming, and you have to just kind of like pretend it's not happening. And then you're worried about people noticing, so you're not really concentrating on conversations because you're trying to control your uncontrollable body. Well, like I said, I'm a big fan, Esther. And I tell
Thank
you what,
you.
we'll put all your info in the link in the description of the video. And keep up the good work, Esther. And I tell you what, maybe we can do this again sometime.
I would love that. Thank you so much, Jeremy.